Alright, I'm actually on time this time around. So, what's up everybody, it's CS Nazo and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney live streams. In the last part, we went to a pawnbrokery to get Herlock Sholmes' violin back. And we wound up getting in the middle of a dispute over who the true owner of a jacket and a metal disc that plays music is. I remember the item, I don't remember what the item is called. So anyway, we're gonna just figure out what happens next. '15th of April, Baker Street. See? That's why, I'm very sorry. That's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you pack of lies and take stuff away from you. Oh, really, Mrs. Strutty? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah? The D let me keep it, after I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and said, go on then, have it, before telling me to scarper. I'm sorry. Always pays off, giving people a look, giving people a look like you ate them. I can't help feeling that it's going to get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mine. The music box disc? But Mr. Windybank said it was practically worthless. I think I'm gonna go... I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the voice right, and I think I finally got it. I think. I could be wrong. I think I'm gonna go and have another bash. Give him a long hard stare. I think not, Mrs. Strade. We shan't enter Windybanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windybank. But that disc's mine. I had the ticket for this coat and it was in the coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what that rotten cove said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Well then, that's mine too. Whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Estrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes. So, what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Eh? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, she's already cooking for 4 people. Wouldn't, like, adding a 5th one be kind of really, like, cutting in on the food? I'm not sure she'd be alright with that. No, Ta. Oh. Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? I think she just took my wallet and ran off. Oh dear, she's gone. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting! What is it? You shall have to wait and see, Miss Usano. Until then! We can't converse with anyone. Let's take a look around, though I don't think we're gonna get anything. Look at all the different things in the window of the shop. Ah, that's Windybanks, the pawnbrokery. It looks much smarter than a pawnbroker's in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home are rather inapproachable, personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, there they are. I was wondering, like, where are they? Close, store for rent. Okay, so that comes on when you stop moving for like half a second. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholm's office. Oh! So the pawnbrokery is like right next door. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. So are we just on the top floor? No, we have to be in the attic. I guess maybe the angle is making it hard to see the attic. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Nothing really else to see. Alright, where else can we move? Baker Street, Naruhodo, Legal Consultancy, and the Sholm Suite. Can't go back into the pawnbrokery. April 15th, 3:46 p.m. Sholm Suite. Ah, Susie and Runo! Come in, come in! Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Okay, I guess she is happy. You're not gonna kill her, are you? Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, it is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise! Yes, that's wonderful news! Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. I just noticed the little things hanging off her backpack. I just noticed that she had a backpack, period. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Okay. Oh yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Hurley? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Is he still depressed about not having the machine? I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Runo? You have, oh, I'm sorry. You have ever such a funny look on your face. Oh, no, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How did you... Oh, Runo, I can read you like a book. This girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. Alright. So, by Ginny you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGildy case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although, after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her back down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There are so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants to make me wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher. How did you not already figure that out? Yes, that's right. I'd got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it. Now, well, maybe because you're shooting it with it. Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she came, since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she does actually come. Living with Sholmes. I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents? My mummy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Kinda figured that was the case. My mummy passed away when I was born. And at around the same time, my father, well, he had to go to a faraway land because one of the other cases, he and Hurley were working on. Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving, mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases? Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more, so I opened it up. And found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell out of his chair. But then he told me, that's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. We already figured this out. Iris's father. I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my... Oh. It must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off. I don't want to finish that. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, actually. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he solved the case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so that I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris' father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. Oh my god. Really? The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, how do we tell her? We have to fucking tell her. But how do we do it? Oh. The man who in the most bizarre of circumstances lost his life just before we left Japan. Mr. Sato. Yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Ah, my dear fellows! How good to see you! Eek! Mr. Sholmes! Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madame? Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows! Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one that... I'm very sorry. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc. Shouldn't that be with the police? Then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may be well more adept at larceny. Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. The music box disc. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? Didn't he just say he stole it? I think Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. Chocolate? That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. They don't make caramel in bars anymore. Maybe they do in the UK, but I've had candy with caramel in it, like a Twix or a Rolo, but I've never just had a straight bar of caramel. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. How did he... Are you really going to suggest? I'll be taking whatever it is of Mr. McGill down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did. But I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this! That's That's amazing! So he made a mold for the disc out of 2 caramel bars. It would have to be significantly melted for that to work. And even then, you'd have to find a way to keep it hardened, since you'd then have to put metal into it, or maybe, I don't know. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution. Probably tastes like ass. How extraordinary. Carrying a pair of these on one person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will and never without high sucrose nourishment. Wouldn't it just be straight sugar, like back in the early 1900s, and not sucrose or whatever? Yes, that sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. The music on the disc. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented use a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs like these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present. But it's the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no idea of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why... Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory to this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. That sounds expensive. Every single one? That's Hurley for you. Always taking things too far. I'm sorry if I accidentally bumped the mic. But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true, in the worst case. I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilda's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. Yeah, because we don't know who did it still. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilda was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. I don't think it was. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mysteries lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes! The idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom gathering dust! My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. Someone's gonna steal it, isn't he? Aren't they? And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up. Caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting! The Hound of Bakersville! I should love to read it. Did I say Bakersville or Baskersville? I probably said Bakersville. Or it's Baskersville. Ah! I don't get it. Mirinowski. Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of Baskersville. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's... Did she steal it? That's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories of Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Runo, The Hound of Baskersville's has never been published. What? I'm sorry. When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said that he'd keep it safe until it was the right time for the story to be made public. You see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibanks. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? She stole it, didn't she? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Really? Yeah, there she is. Miss Lestrade. I just noticed the words VR, like, written in dots on the wall. And I honestly hope that means that a VR version of Ace Attorney is coming. I would love that. I would buy I would buy a VR headset just for that. This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Oh, yes! Just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Susan just straight up stole it, didn't she? Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some, metal song? I won't take no for an answer. Meddlesome it is, then. And there's the cat. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves, well into the night. Susan stole the manuscript. 15th of April, 9:34 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine. And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Well, maybe he's still playing it. Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Please don't do that. Naruhodo-san, can I consult with you about something, I wonder? You stole the book, didn't you? You stole the manuscript. It's about the telegram I received. Oh, I completely forgot about that. The one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. Back to Japan? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Stronghart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Someone's knocking. Who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends! Ah, Iris. Hello again. Oh, I'm guessing she's also taking board here. And Gina too. Yes, Jeannie's going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Jeannie? Well, yeah. You know, I had a feeling something like this would happen, that she'd come up again in the story and, like, something would happen to teach her that stealing is wrong and she'll get, like, an honest job or something. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what in particular? All those things Jeannie showed us. Wasn't it wonderful? Ah, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. Please do not. Feelings bad, okay? So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Oh, she stole it. Okay. Wait, what? Is it? It's still in the court record. I'm not sure if it just went back into the court record because she's just now returning it. Oh my! How did you... I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it though. Ah, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Genie? I think I won't fancy me chances with a loyal what lives in a place like this. Yes, me too! It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. Probably the fact that, like, Susato stole the manuscript. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris. Not at all. I don't know what all this is about, really, but... It's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This mantle script or whatever you call it? I didn't mean to pull up the court record. It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I mentioned it to you before, Genie, but... My daddy was Hurley's assistant once. His partner. Eh? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, what's your old man now? Where's your old man now, then? Fortunately, he's dead. He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone for a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Oh, right. Come to think of it. I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. The Hound of Baskervilles. Iris, this Hound of Baskervilles story. I take it that that's another tale inspired by your father's accounts? That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean. Oh? How? I don't really know. But it must be special in some way. Because after I had written it and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you toiled over it for so long, Iris. But this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works! I'm not at liberty to say. Not now. So please, do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windybank, isn't it? Yes. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does! He's treating you like a child! I mean, she is a child. It's mean, that's what it is! Keeping secrets like that! I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Eh? If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. I'm sorry. You lot are too trusting for your own good. But you can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. And she just went back to a more masculine voice out of nowhere. What? Hurley's lying to me? Can't she, like, tell naturally when someone's lying? There you are. Bruno, what are you doing? Look, I'm not gonna steal nothing, alright? It's all junk anyway. Charming. I suppose I should engage our guests in conversation, really. Wait, really? Oh. I accidentally examined the fish tank. Your parents. I've realized that I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born, not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Nah, different's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some poppin's idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything right. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh! I mean, if you know you never had them, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet them. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. This is like actually sad, considering we know what happened to her dad. Sholmes lie. Gina, what did you mean when you said that you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, he reckons he popped the manuscript or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story was really in old Windybank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. She stole it! She heard about some kind of unpublished manuscript for, she heard about a manuscript for a Sholmes story that hadn't been published yet, and she's like, I'm gonna steal that so I can read it and then give it back later. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ha! Grown-ups grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Winnie Banks. You'd soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? Oh, but I don't mean that, that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness! Look at the time! Come along, Jeannie. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I'm sorry. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night then. Iris, it sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down, she's still just a child. Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. Are we really going to get a to be continued here? We're only like 45 minutes in. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. I'm sorry. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She probably just... I don't know. Doesn't seem too weird to me. She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out the window, my dear fellow. Is he saying someone kidnapped her? Wait a minute. Why is there a light on? Why is there a light on at this time of night? That's Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windybanks? Call the police if you think it's being robbed! Oh no! It's oh, she's in there. She's in there trying to get the manuscript. She's gonna get in trouble. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Oh, no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once! Mr. Sato. Go to bed! You have an important meeting in the morning! Me and Sholmes can sleep in! You can't! The door to Mr. Windybank's. It's open! And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it?
Let us hope it's nothing more sinister.
What?
Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside.
Why have we not contacted the police? There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Someone just got shot. Susano just got shot. Or Sholmes just got shot. What the? Has Sholmes been shot?
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo! But... after them! Go! Right!
Blast! I've lost them.
Hello? What are we here? The alarm just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that?
We're gonna be accused of something again, isn't it? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windybanks. He's dead, isn't he?
Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Naruhodo!
No, he's still alive.
Where is it?
Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry!
Is Windybank dead? God damn it! And there's Gina unconscious with a gun. Yeah, we're less than an hour in, and we're already at to be continued. I honestly, there's a part of me that doesn't want to continue, just because I'm afraid that if we do continue, I'm going to be here for another 2 hours. And I like ending these Ace Attorney streams at around 9. But we are going to go a little bit longer. After a bit of a break. I'm going to get myself a snack, something to drink. Alright, I've had my snacks, and I'm back. Scream's dim because I was away for a bit.
Bang! Ah! I'll be alright, Mr. Naruto. I'll be alright, Mr. Naruto. After them! Go!
Behind that door, in the storeroom.
Hurry!
I just realized it was Sherlock Holmes talking. From that moment, Windybank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn. I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B.
I kind of feel bad for Susato because she has to go. She has to immediately
Go to see the Chief Justice. Hi, Iris. A telegram came, but all it said was, wait at home. Oh, yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Jeannie were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Bruno? Poor Iris, she's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something's awful happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. Events at Windybank. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windybank is dead. He was shot. He was discovered in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? Well, I saw one of those police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Mr. Windybank's, in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street, and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Windybank, I suppose. I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina.
Jeannie? But why?
Well, the thing is...
No! Jeannie wouldn't do something like that!
I know. None of us think she did it.
Then why have they arrested her?
I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do. Sholm's situation.
So where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene?
He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to the hospital this morning.
What?
Well, when we entered Windybanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet.
Hurley was shot? No!
It's all right. His life isn't in danger.
Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital?
He's at Saint Signers? They're tending to him there.
I must see him at once.
I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't.
Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed.
No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see.
To operate?
Oh, poor Hurley. Injured Sholmes. It was the 2 thugs who were in Mr. Windybank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze.
After them! Go!
After that, I ran out into the street, but, well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. Poor thing. Where's Susie, Bruno? She's still at the police station. Oh? Why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Usada stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to let me leave early. You should have let me. You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station.
Gina's arrest.
I don't understand why they arrested Jeannie. It's not fair. What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? No, I mean, Mr. Holmes isn't dead, Iris. This is all so horrible. The thing is, Mr. Windybank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no! And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards... Don't tell me there was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? It's the only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well? What can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't. I'm afraid I'll need to go out. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Bruno. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her here all alone either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me? Oh yes! I'd love to! Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Alright. A few new locations have been added. Let's see. Prison is what's here first, but let's go to the hospital first. "16th April, St. Signers Hospital, Ward 3. Early! Oh! Probably just says, like, he's out for surgery. No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not sure about that. Baby or not, there's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered. Oh.
Hello, hello! What have we here? This ward is off limits. No visiting. So what are you doing in here, eh?
Well, I'll have you know, we're Hurley's next of kin.
Eh? Oh! Well, begging your pardon then, ma'am, sir. A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solver, as a mysterious family, eh?
If that's how you see us, sure. Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley?
I believe he is currently on the operating in the operating theater, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation.
Extensive?
It has been several hours since he went in.
Oh dear, is he going to be alright?
Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is.
Oh!
I have heard a report that the gentleman's claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that you won't be back here for several hours yet.
I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later. Oh, poor Hurley. Alright, to the prison. This is a lot more, like, creepy than, like, the normal, like, fuck, I can't figure it out. Visiting center, is that what they call it? In the, normal Ace Attorney games? Hello, Gina.
They let you keep that?! You've been accused of murder and they let you keep what is clearly a weapon?! And the ammo for it?!
Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made. I wish she wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Jeannie. I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry?
You, get lost!
Don't be like that, Jeannie. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. You think you know me? Pull the other one. Oh.
You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking on the street. That's how I get by. And if I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay me hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am.
But Jeannie...
I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or something like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one.
She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Why are you being like this, Jeannie? Legal representation. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? Hold on, I just realized something. There we go.
He wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that. It's all gonna be rigged anyway. The whole trial. They'll pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do.
Why do you think that?
Because that's how it's always been for me growing up in the back slums. Me whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers. Or worse. I've had it happen to me before and all. Been sold out by a nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one. That's the point. As soon as you do, you're gone to grass. Dead.
One second, I have to make disgusting sinus noises. Oh, doing that's never fun. Oh, I feel sick. And it's still not out. God damn it. Forget it. Jeannie. Don't you trust Runo? She said she trusts no one. Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone. What happened? Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbroker's. Nothing to tell. I figured it'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me, and you know the rest. But why, Jeannie? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Diving ain't easy, you know? It's a lot of work, and half the time you don't even get nothing. She went in to find the manuscript. She got caught, and she, like, knocked out, Windybank. Somehow got herself knocked out, too. And then, when the thugs came in to rob the store, they just opened the hole, saw that he was already unconscious, and just shot him. Just to end it. That is what I'm suspecting right now. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Oh, give it a rest! What'd be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Jeannie. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be tough. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies? She messed with a crime scene in the McGilda case. What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help. Sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Jeannie, please. Oh yeah. I wanted to give you this. Something to remember me by. A photographic print? Of a really adorable cat. I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point in having it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of that overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Jeannie. The white cat photograph has been entered in the court record. Alright, well, she wants us to leave, so let's head to the pawnbrokery. See if we can do some investigating. There's blood on the calendar. I'm not entirely sure. Would that be the blood from the, would that be Sholmes' blood? Maybe, possibly, I don't know for sure. Wait! That's the same photo we just got from Gina on the counter there. That's like the exact same one. Is this where it happened then? Last night? That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place, looking for valuables. But apart from the policeman in here, You wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black.
Oi! I heard that! Well, see, you're not dressed in black. That's different.
Oh, Inspector, good morning.
I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, Mud.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd assign extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty.
Ah! Your ladyship! No one told me you were coming!
I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has the very best medical care.
Of course, your ladyship! The very best doctors in the capital are attending him as we speak.
And I don't think it's Runo's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job.
Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. The shit in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that.
Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change.
Oh, where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship?
Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice, refreshing fruit juice? Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me if you'd like some.
Did they Whoa. I think finally the science is starting to clear up. Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
He drank the tea vigorously.
Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. That really hit the spot. Your ladyship?
I don't even recognize him like this.
I'm convinced there's a sixth case to this game.
The investigation. So, how is the investigation going, Inspector?
Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge, we're just about to charge that div we arrested last night, in fact.
Gina? You're going to charge her?
That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow.
Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me.
Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid.
Heat beam eye blast! You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you?
What the?
And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you?
How could you? How could you possibly know that?
I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to keep a secret from
Iris. We're already doing that.
So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Schultz, have you?
Well, yes. They were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat.
And Mrs. Strade is being held at the prison.
I mean, we were just there. She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course.
That's apparently a common thing. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition?
Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential.
Well, I know he's been operated on by at Saint Signers. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. He's on the operating table. It's not for his sake. It's not safe for anyone who's not a doctor to be in there.
I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visit at all.
Oh!
The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood.
Oh no.
He didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so.
But a hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he will be all right, won't he? They'll be able to make him better. Of course, your ladyship. He'll be as red as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Well, because of course. Ah, yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective. That's why. We'd better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again. Oh dear, please don't die, Hurley. What is... Oh, he just straight up doesn't have a chin. I'll report to your ladyship, I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. Jesus, what's wrong with my voice? Her ladyship. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with it, sunshine! Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. What the sauce, honey? I'm a copper, and we don't go in for favoritism. But he's right. You do treat us differently. It's because of those adventures of Sherlock Sholmes stories. That's why. Oh. I crop them up I crop up in them, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the Inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. It was one of Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? And you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone at the Yard reads them. They read all the Sherlock Holmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? I'm sorry. See, the voice requires me to talk fast, and I have a stuttering problem. All it takes is one bad word from you, and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? No, the great detective will say. He's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it. But that would never happen, Gregsy. Every month, when the new Rand magazine comes out, I had the trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. Drinks vigorously. Ah, lovely! Thank you very much! That really hit the spot. Your ladyship? Teetotal. Oh, yeah. There's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruto. Yes? What is it? I've got an important message for you. I clearly forgot about it up until now. An important message? I wonder what it could be. Probably from Susato. Are you going to tell me what this important message is, then, Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side. Your assistant. Dear Susie, is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe? Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. One of the whip stocks took her there in the yard carriage after after we'd finished questioning her. But she asked us to tell you since she didn't have the fare for the return journey and to go and meet her there. She's got nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go to see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. but I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. We'll do that after a little investigating. Alright then, let's see what we can uncover.
Oi, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here.
Oh, but we were hoping to investigate.
This is a crime scene for Pete's sake. No touching.
What's the problem, Grexy? Bruno's a lawyer, you know that.
Oh, I'm so sorry, ladyship. I'm so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn on my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that would be another matter.
The accused?
If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you nose around.
Did you hear that, Bruno? You need Jeannie to sign some representation papers. It looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. And that's going to require getting Susato and having her confess to Iris in the prison in front of Gina that she stole the freaking manuscript. I went to the wrong thing. I need to go to move. New location has been added. Is it at the top again? Yeah, there it is. I'm not sure if that's new, per se. '16th of April. April. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at the suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust? Yes, thank you very much. I don't remember what voice I gave him. There they are, Susato and Lord Strongheart. I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious.
Very good. There's nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was what was happening. I was so certain there was a sixth case, but maybe not. Because if you're if you're familiar with the Ace Attorney formula, you have one tutorial case that is basically trial, then you have a proper case which is investigation then trial, and that's basically the cycle: investigation, trial, for every case with a few exceptions. But we've only had like one proper case in that sense then. Wait, what did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Susato-san! Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was that all about?
Mr. Naruhodo, thank you for coming to collect your colleague.
Sorry about that. What's this all about? Why are you taking her back to... why are you talking about taking... I'm sorry. Why are you talking about Mrs. Sato return to her homeland? And... tomorrow? Tomorrow? But what about Jeannie's trial? You mean... she's been formally charged now? Oh dear. Returning to our homeland. Yeah, that's a good question. Are we going to? Mr. Sato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Still, though, I mean, okay, on the bright side, we can stay here and defend Gina. But we wouldn't have gotten this far without her. That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh, that explains it. Oh no! Professor Mikotoba?
If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news.
10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker day by day. I don't believe it.
As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Mr. Sao's departure as much as possible.
Yes, absolutely. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So Gina has been charged? She'll have to appear in court. Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No! Not even 24 hours later?
Gina? The Lestrada girl, and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too transpicious case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is, without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
It's not wasting time! Gina would never do something like that!
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart?
In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave, now.
Of course, Lord Strongheart.
Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are being perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend.
Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday.
It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me."
There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart.
Which is?
It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her.
A timely suggestion.
Sorry?
The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair! Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial.
Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides, the government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right.
Why would she do that?
A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade.
Or maybe it's Lestrade, I don't know. No one's told me the correct pronunciation yet.
You'll find her at the local prison.
And we've already talked to her. Yes, thank you.
Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you.
What a day. Gina charged with murder, Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. You know what? Thanks, Isato. Okay, I'm not good at expressing appreciation, but I genuinely do appreciate this. That's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. That little boom when you finally get control again. Oh, that was great, actually. Is she in the prison and her model just hasn't loaded in yet? Yeah, there she is. Ah! Hello again, Gina. Would you stop pointing that thing at me? Why were you allowed to have that with you in the first place? This is a prison. What are you lining for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition in that thing, don't I? Look! You can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Eh? Farewell? Tomorrow, I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. We're not even going to be able to see her off because we'll be in court. Fuck. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina. Before our paths never cross again. Right here and now. I want you to show us. I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. I want you to show. I'm sorry. I need to reread this again. That kind of that just didn't register in my mind properly. 1 second. I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Okay. Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Genie? You said something about unforgivable lies? You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously wearing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Mr. Magnus was acquitted? Ah! The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, you messed with the omnibus. I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing, and then I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGill had discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There wasn't much light to see by, but when I looked at me hands, I had the cove's blood all over 'em. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight? Then Mr. McGill started asking you questions, I suppose? You were, who you were and why you were hiding under the seat? Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all. What do you mean? I mean he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. And about what he was gonna do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scalp it before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. Oh, there's a lot of stuff now. You said McGilded made you swear not to tell anyone what you saw. But you were in the pitch black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the coves in the floor, I let out a little scream, you see. I couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by me arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer where I had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took from me at Windybanks. So the music box disc was there, on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long. McGill had spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago, at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bog trotter told me. I went to mutter a word of it to no one. What you heard. 'Cause it was so dark under that seat in the cab. I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably that was McGilded getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh! 'Cause I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was McGilded and the victim, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported this. Supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses on the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilded and the victim knew each other. So McGilded was lying, as I suspected. I mean, that was kind of assumed after the event. I knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilded told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two coves from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor. A favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. Hey, I'll give you 10 guineas. I forgot to do the voice. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windibank's. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. McGilded's conditions. What were what were McGilded's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul. Not for anything. About what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? At all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye, the fiend's taking me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker's hereabouts. And what I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. You understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right. And I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then. Is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windibank so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited, and any old fiend could come along and buy it. But I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye, they'll come asking you to take the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that ye might say? And what is it that ye won't? After he'd gone over it all, I picked it. I got as far away from there as I could. He had the pawnbrokers taken in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGill had planned it and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it. He would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have... In a heartbeat. He could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he'd wanted. And then we could have had... I'm sorry. And then where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere. That's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. A favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Jeannie. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want you to that's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Mr. Sato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one sticking up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Jeannie. She seems so lonely. She signed the papers. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windybanks now. Yes. And perhaps we can come back to visit Jeannie when we're done there. I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windybanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. To be continued once again, and it is perfectly timed. Okay. Alright. So, in the next part, I suppose we're going to continue our investigation into what happened at Windybanks Pawnbrokery. And, yeah, we will, Gina will likely be more willing for us to defend her. And we shall take care of that tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Next week at 7, assuming things go well. Well, actually, no. Yeah, never mind. I'm pretty sure I'll be back in time for it next week. I should be fine. But in between now and then, on Saturday at 2 p.m., we will be continuing the streams for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but we will be moving into the final game of the Legendary Edition, Mass Effect 3. Alright, I will see you guys then.